New urban center for Palmyra. 3 fatal accidents over the weekend. Guyanese charged for robbing tourists in Barbados. And oil and hypocrisy. I am Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Over the weekend, Jogdeo announced the government's plans to develop lands formerly owned by Gaisuko at Palmyra, East Berbice Quarantine. He said the stadium will be built with construction expected to commence before the end of the year, but also the area will see the construction of hotels, shopping malls, and, quote, a whole range of activities, end quote. Jogdeo said there are already some proposals for hotel development in the Palmyra area and across the region. He hopes the investment will boost economic activity and create jobs over there. The Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce has called on the government to negotiate the takeover of the Berbice Bridge to ease the burden of the tolls to cross the river. For years, citizens have decried the high toll being charged by the bridge. The chamber recently dispatched a letter to the government requesting that they negotiate with the bridge company owners for 100% ownership and the reduction of fares by at least 50%. The letter highlighted that when the coalition government assumed office in 2015, the toll was reduced from $2,200 to $1,900 for a regular vehicle to cross the bridge, and the coalition had pledged to take annual measures to bring the cost down. However, it never materialized, and the toll remained at $1,900 to this day. Then, in 2019, the coalition said it intended to buy out the ownership of the bridge. The company was prepared to do the sale, however, that too never materialized. Addressing the Guyana Bar Association dinner on Saturday night, President of the CCJ, Justice Adrian Saunders, called for the substantive appointment of a Chancellor of the Judiciary and a Chief Justice before the end of the year. For years, the CCJ has expressed concern about this matter, as the last substantively appointed Chancellor of the Judiciary was Justice Desiree Bernard 17 years ago. In his address, Saunders called the matter very disappointing. He also said that as the President of the nation's, and subsequently the region's, final court, he believes that he has a right and a duty to publicly express the view that Guyana should not let this year pass and not remedy this regrettable situation. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale, this is 2014 Audi Q3. It comes with Bluetooth, marked rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $5.6 million. All pay down as low as $1,120,000 down, with around $108,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Or visit their showrooms at Lot 171 Peter Rocher, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street. And tell them America sent you for this sweet, sweet deal. On Sunday morning, an accident between 2 motorcyclists on the 1 mile public road in Wismalinden claimed the life of 18-year-old Odell Taylor. Police said the other motorcyclist, 22-year-old David Orion, fled the scene of the accident after he reportedly jumped an intersection and crashed into Taylor. Police said that Taylor was speeding and without a helmet when Orion collided into his motorcycle. The impact threw Taylor headfirst into a concrete culvert, presumably killing him before he could receive medical treatment. Sadly, hours later, another motorcycle collision claimed the life of 14-year-old Makeda Quick. She was riding a bicycle in Efield Sophia on Sunday when 21-year-old Glenton Redman lost control of his bike and collided with her. The young girl was flung some distance into the air before falling into a nearby drain. The two were taken to the hospital where Quick was declared dead on arrival, while Redman is currently receiving medical treatment under police guard. It is believed that he does not possess a license. Also on Sunday, an accident on the Bena Hill Public Road in North Rupununi resulted in the death of 48-year-old Anai Central Village Councillor Lennox George. George was riding a minibus belonging to the council at around 3:45 a.m. with 2 passengers, 20-year-old Juliana Williams and her 6-year-old son. The minibus had reportedly dropped into a pothole and lost control before colliding with a nearby tree on the southern grass parapet. The passengers were taken to the hospital for treatment, while George was declared dead on arrival. Who said luxury can't be affordable? Move into your own home in 2022. The Norris Estates West Coast MRR properties are within your reach. Move out of the landlord's place and put that rent money towards your own 5,000 square foot property. Call or WhatsApp 592-618-5702 for more info. On Friday, a cashier accused of embezzling over $200,000 from her employer was charged and released on $100,000 bail, which means she made a $100,000 profit. Aha! Shanika Morgan pleaded not guilty to the charge, which stated that on March 30th, while being employed as a clerk or servant at Betting Court, Norton Street, Georgetown, she received on behalf of her employer $221,861,000, which she converted to her own use and benefit. Morgan is due back in court on June 3rd. Stressing that crimes against tourists have far-reaching consequences for Barbados' economy, a judge slapped the gun-toting burglar who crippled a Canadian visitor in a porch burglary, and his cutlass-wielding accomplice with 31 years in jail yesterday. However, after the deductions for their guilty pleas and time on remand, Alexander Patrick Allen and Travis Orne Campbell will serve a remaining 18 years, 212 days in prison. Allen of Ealing Grove Gardens, Christchurch, and Guyanese-born Campbell had pleaded guilty to entering Canadian visitor Robert Elliott's house on February 22, 2020, with intent to steal, and at the time they had a firearm and a cutlass. Campbell fired the shot, which crippled the man. Following the robbery, the Tourism Authority of Barbados went on damage control, as Elliott's family had called on social media to tell people that they've completely sworn off ever going back to the island republic after the violent incident. Now for today's oil update. Guyana has so far approved a total of 4 offshore developments at the Starbuck block. When combined, Exxon will be targeting just over 25% of the 10 billion oil equivalent barrels found since 2015. The projects approved to date are the Liza Phase 1 with 500 million barrels, Liza Phase 2 with 600 million barrels, Payara with 600 million barrels, and Yellowtail with 900 million barrels. This will see a total of 2.6 billion barrels of oil being developed over the life of these projects. The projects also feature a combined 139 development wells between them. Exxon anticipates operating around 10 FPSO vessels on these 4 projects, but has said the volume of oil could very well double in the coming years. You can multiply your cash by selling digital top-up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? The hypocrisy of the West. The latest report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says it's now or never for governments to do something serious to save the planet from an irreversible climate disaster. They said they are so serious about cutting emissions that the IDB refuses to lend us, Guyana, and many other developing nations money to invest in oil and gas projects. But despite the sanctimonious eco-fascist rhetoric of the West, rich countries continue to approve multiple oil and gas projects across the globe under the excuse of a need for energy independence in the wake of the invasion of Ukraine. The US, Canada, the EU, all of them are ramping up oil production and approving new projects more than ever before, while telling us in Guyana that we need to slow down the pace of our development in the oil industry. Well, if you ask me, they need to drop the act and just be honest for a change. These countries don't care about our nation's future. In fact, I don't think they even want to see an independent Guyana. They want to see us dependent on their goods, their services, their entertainment, their culture, and even their interpretation of human rights. But if you decide not to support their line of reasoning in every way, shape, form, or fashion, you are vilified in the community of nations. I can go on, but I don't want to stop preaching. All I'm trying to say is that what is good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If they don't want us in this nation to develop our oil industry, then they need to present us with an even more lucrative and beneficial source of national income, because anything else is pretty stupid. Now for our Uncut News Views Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Friday's question was, Friday was a national day of prayer and fasting. What did you pray for? Olester Noble says, I pray that the government watches Guyana Uncut News and think about everyone's opinion. Amen, Olester. Amen. Carl Crossman says, I pray for the president to stay true to his faith and to recognize that Muslim leaders always look after their native people regardless of their color, and he would have recognized this on his visit to Dubai. Indeed, and if we're Guyanese, we're all his people. This one's a little off topic, but still I agree. Dopamine says, the government says, hell with the poor people who have to pay unilateral increases in transportation fares. Guyanese like living this way, then turn around and blame the government for everything that they, the people, uphold. But if a minibus of passengers disagrees together, I bet my last dollars things will be different. But like the political and ethnic divide, it also appears common sense is divided from most brains. It can't handle a few touts and buses. How can we take on a giant like ExxonMobil? Boy, sometimes I really hate being Guyanese MS. I'm sorry to say, but you're exactly right in many respects. You can complain about the government all you want, but at the end of the day, I always remember the old saying, you don't get the government you want, you get the government you deserve. So, because they don't do anything about it, they deserve said government. So before we get to tonight's question, do you own a truck? No, not the immunodisease. I mean a real truck, like DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford TM, or Scamble. Then come, get high-quality truck parts at the lowest prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Now for tonight's question. Is Palmyra a good location for another urban center in Berbice, or should an existing one like New Amsterdam be expanded? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.